You know what? I just want to come on and just chat about something. Yesterday, I posted a message on Twitter regarding your week and saying, if anyone's had a good few weeks going behind them and they were feeling good and they had the momentum on their side, they should continue to use that momentum to build and fly and reach new heights. And that if you were going through a tough time and you felt like things aren't really going great for you, to make sure that you inspire yourself to make that decision to say, I'm going to turn things around. Now, interestingly enough, I got quite a few DMs, over 30 DMs from folks, and I really appreciate your vulnerability and you sharing the stuff with me. A lot of people are going through some bad times and some tough times, doubting themselves, doubting their abilities, whether COVID got them laid off or put them on furlough, or they're not feeling inspired in their lives anymore. And I just felt that I want to touch on that message from yesterday. So there's two things I'd want to say is, number one is, when you're in that flow where things are going well, you do need to capitalize and continue that momentum. But when things are not going well, like it's Sunday, for example, and you're coming into Monday, you need to boost your Monday by starting your Sunday off powerfully, but especially the last bit of your Sunday, the ending of your Sunday, should I say, should be ended off powerfully. So, for example, instead of watching a movie and just dwelling on things that are going on in your life and just avoiding stuff and wake up on Monday like Monday's an accident, I'd say go into your office or your quiet space or your lounge or whatever the case is. Watch some motivational clips. Listen to some inspiring music. Make a list as those juices get flowing and you feel like, wow, I'm starting to feel inspired. And create momentum going into Monday. Because if you just are stagnant on a Sunday and you're not feeling great about yourself, or maybe you're doing great, but then you don't do anything on a Sunday night, you just wait for Monday to arrive, you're going to lose that momentum and you're going to lose that inspiration to take it into the next week. So, like, for example, on a Sunday, what I like to do is I like to go into my office, I put everything down, I put like pen and paper, big pad, and I start just playing motivational music, motivational videos. I research some things I'm interested in and I let the creative juices flow. And then on that Sunday, once I'm starting to feel like I'm alive and I'm into it, I'll make my lists. So I make a few lists. My one is my admin boring list. It's an admin list that I hate, whether it's stuff to do with the bank, Vodafone, calling up the council for sorting out a council tax thing, whatever the case may be. And then I make my list for my job to make sure I'm on top of everything. So obviously coaching at a high level, I make sure I've got all my preview stuff, my review, my one-on-ones, the theme that I want to set for the week, the tone I want to set in terms of the defense. I make motivational videos in the week for the boys. So I want to think about a nice montage that I'm into or a theme that I'm into and so on. And then I have a last list, which is my dream list. The list that makes me like strive and think, wow, like there's so much more out there. Like, for example, I call it the magic self list. Like you imagine the highest level of dream you have is like the biggest house, the most beautiful car, fun in the sun, a great holiday, achieving that massive promotion in your job, whatever it is. And you keep that dream list. So you've got that mundane admin list right up to your dream magic self list. And once you've written that all down, you just feel so free. You feel so good. And your mind's not cluttered because once it goes on paper, you feel amazing. Now, when people used to tell me this, I used to hate them. I used to say, I don't want to make lists. But if you go into your office and you play that motivational music and you play that motivational video and you start to write, it's all going to come to you. And, going into this next week or this week, it is Monday already. I just want to say that some of you aren't feeling good enough. Those were a lot of the texts that I got. And don't feel second best because you're not second best. Okay, you are number one and you are number one to yourself, especially. Treat yourself kindly. Look in the mirror and say, I've been through things before. Where my track record? Can I prove to myself that I've got through things, that I've survived things, that I've done great things? Work back in your process and say, where have I come to a tight situation and I found the solution and I drove through and I implemented the solution and I got through it and I came out on the other side. I came out on top. Of course, you can trace back times like that. It's like what you do with your players. You track back the best weeks they've ever had. It's linked to games where they've played the best they've ever played. You'll see a pattern in when they train in a certain way, when they're studious in a certain way, when they apply themselves in a certain way, they often will have a great game. Same thing for you. Your great game in life, you're not second best. You may be going through a lull and you're forgetting to be connected to your gift, what makes you special, and maybe you're a bit too tough on yourself. Now, we obviously need hard conversations with ourselves, but you don't need to beat yourself up. You are not second best. You imagine in a rugby match, for example, you're in the 67th minute, you're down by 12, 14, 15 points. If you just gave up, you'd never have the chance to win. You've got to go back and say, where have I come back from the dead before? How have I done that? And connect to that. And the last thing I just want to say is, Anthony Robbins, the famous motivational speaker, had something that I really love where he says, life is a decision. You decide, is this the beginning or is this the end? You decide, is this going to be my turnaround story or is this, am I never going to make it? You decide that. Like even when people fall in love, he says, You go, oh, this is a person for me. This is the start of something great. When you're in a relationship where things are going not well, instead of fix them, you go, I think this is beginning to be the end. But that's a decision. So wherever you are now, make the decision to say, no matter what the situation, if I'm flying high, I make the decision I'm never coming down. And if you're feeling bad and you're not on track to where you need to be, say, today I decide this is my turnaround day. This is my turnaround day. I'm going to do this. I'm all in. I'm going to make this. So my message is to all those guys and girls who send me those direct messages, not feeling themselves. You are not second best. You can do this. You can turn your story around. I hope you have a great Monday and a great rest of the week. Build that momentum and slay those tasks. And before you know it, you'll be hitting the heights you always wanted.